Well, here we are at Benny Whiteheads. I'm up in the loft, kind of getting panning the room, getting an aerial shot, if you will. So I was going to let their voices come through, but it seemed to have gone too fast, and I wanted to slow it down so that you could really see everyone more clearly. So I'll sweep the room a couple of times just to get an idea of who's at this particular party. And seemingly when I finished, I really did miss several people that I would have loved to have interviewed, so to speak, as I went around. So just enjoy the bird's eye view, so to speak, of everyone in the group. Really sounds like a bunch of bees. Anyway, it's just a bunch of chatter at this point kind of going on until I get up closer to people, talking to them one-on-one. This is a screen that Benny had over his fireplace, and we were able to play old photos, show old photos from the annual of us. And then there was a jukebox over in the corner, of course, that we were playing all the music from the 50s and 60s. That's Joyce Allen sitting to the right in the chair, and Benny Whitehead's wife Brenda in the chair next to her, and the sofa's over. And that's Betty June Mills and Janet Harmon. I can't see quite who that is from the back. Oh, that's Betty June Mills with the black sweater up underneath. And Linda McCain standing next to her, to the left of her. Betty June's husband right behind. And I think that's Linda McCain's husband to the right there. Fari Petrie. I'm trying to sort of see people from a distance here as to who they are. You can see Louise Earle talking to Terry Watson, and I believe that's Rodney Jones's wife, Mike Barnes and Paula, and Mike Barnes's wife. Down the closest to the front to the left is Martha Ann Fain Porter. That was Ray Hardy back up here. So we're getting back. I think I've come down the stairs, and you're seeing Joyce Allen and Brenda Whitehead. The light kind of burns it out when I get close to a light, so when I notice that, I try to back off of it. But Benny calls his plantation Cotton Country Plantation. His son actually took the wood when they tore down the mill in Eufaula and had it refinished, and they built the house from the cotton mill. So it's gorgeous, and it was just perfect for this 50th reunion on Friday night, March the 22nd, I think it was. It's just one big room, and it was raining outside, so we, I think, electively decided to stay inside in a wad and just really have a good time chit-chatting with each other.
Yeah, you'll see it tomorrow night.
So the rain kind of forced us inside, but I think that was kind of an elective choice anyway. Even if it had been sunny, I think everyone would have stayed inside. It was kind of coolish, too. I don't remember the temperature, but it was kind of coolish. That's Louise Earle's husband, I believe, and Charles Marshall sitting there. Yeah, Charles is the shorter one with the cap, and you'll see a taller guy, Emmett Marshall. Kind of get the two confused a little bit. There's Betty June Mills. Easterlin, I think her last name is now. Looks real snazzy and almost like a herringbone jacket. she doesn't quite get that I'm asking her to wave. and I was kind of making this up for like Ike and Pat and some of the people that weren't there, and then of course the ones that were there, they might like to see a copy of this later because it seemed to go by so quickly. And there's Jane Little French from the back, and Anita Cole Smith from to the left over there, and Jane's husband there to the right. So that's Anita Cole. And Jane's husband, I believe it's Jim French. Hope I'm right on these names, but there's Jane, and they decide, I ask them to wave again to say hello to whoever's watching this.
It's on video, so...
Well, I'm not sure what was quite interesting at this angle. But now pan to the left, and there's Sally Carter and her boyfriend. I didn't get a chance to talk to Sally that night. I did the next night. And there's Benny Whitehead. We made him a chef's apron because he was cooking the chicken. And there's Robin Mangrum and his girlfriend Donna. They had come down from North Carolina and played. They both played fiddle and guitar later. But there's Chef Benny and the back of Sally Carter's head. She just looked so cute. They get, like I say, we called him Robert in school, but he is now owning his real name, which is Robin Mangrum. Moth-Ann Porter, and that's Mike Barnes' wife, in the back of Paula's head. There's Mike Barnes and Paula. Oh, Paula looks a little annoyed. Might not like a camera in her face. And moving on down, there's Rodney Codron. I think it's Ronnie Codron, actually. He's pretending he doesn't see me. But I know he saw me in the beginning, and then he's going, "Oh, what are you doing?" So cute. And there's Mickey Strong and Frank Strong. And Ronnie decides to wave and say hello. And Frank's wife, Mickey, looks just really cute. And that's Jerry Stanley standing next to her. You'll see him in just another moment. There's Jerry Stanley coming in. I think he's just saying hello to everyone. He came in from San Francisco, California. Frank and Mickey, of course, and Jerry all live locally in Eufaula. I'm not sure what Frank was saying. But Frank's kind of heading up tomorrow night as far as speaking and decorations and such. And Jerry Stanley unfortunately lost his wife recently to cancer. But he looks good, and there was the cutest picture of he and Jan Genwright, a big hug. So if you look on our Facebook page, you'll see the two of them. Now there's Bobby Dean. And let's see, who is he talking to? He's talking to Marie Reeves Smith. Bobby's wife didn't come with him, Renee. But he and Rodney, I think, came together. Rodney flew in a few days ago and stayed with Bobby Dean. And I believe that was Emmett Marshall that the light kind of burned out there. But I'll come around to the other side so the light won't be to the back. But there's Rodney Jones and Tommy McQueen and Jerry Ward and Tommy McQueen's wife. Some of the spouse names I'm not quite sure of, but that's Jerry Ward and Tommy McQueen. And I think this is when I may have decided, well, maybe not quite yet. I think I started it with Bobby Dean, but there's Rodney Jones. He lives in Auburn, and his wife was back over. I think we saw a glimpse of her in one of the shots. And that's Tommy McQueen's wife. met them more the next night, but it was briefly, so I really don't remember the names of the spouses. But I finally got the idea to kind of zoom in on the name tag, and I think I started it with Bobby Dean. But I think I mentioned that I was wanting to send a copy of this to Ike, who's going through a bone marrow transplant at the time that we were having the reunion, and so Rodney is just being very, very gracious and saying hello. Now that's no, I was thinking that was Emmett Marshall, but I believe that's Jim Louise Earl's husband as Bobby Dean. All right, now I start with a name tag. So zooming in on Bobby Dean. And this is what Bobby Dean looks like today. And he's like, no, don't compare the way I used to look. No, don't do that. He's so funny. Bobby Dean. And there's Emmett Marshall. That was Emmett Marshall over there next to Ree. And there's Marie Reeves Smith. And this is Marie Reeves Smith today. Her husband didn't come Friday night. He joined her on Saturday night, Carl. I do know them because I've been up to Atlanta to visit with them a couple of times. And there's Jerry again. And coming back in on Tommy McQueen, looking at his close-up name tag. And the way he is today. Man, he's got a full head of hair. That's wonderful. Not quite the same color it was in high school, but he sure does still have the hair. And back to Rodney Jones, looking at Rodney Jones back then. And Rodney Jones today. And he looks pretty good with that beard. And Jerry Ward lives in Jacksonville, Florida. Jerry Ward Beeman. I believe her last husband is deceased. And there's Louise Earl's husband in the background. And there's Rodney Codron and Shirley Eldridge, Sig Bloom, Jan Jenright. That's Sue Musselman's husband. There's Jan Jenright. Jan Jenright King, or Jan King. And that's Sue Musselman's husband. And there's Sue. Yay, Sue! Sue was getting ready to start, because I think she has gone through cancer, and it kind of blew her kidneys, so she's starting on dialysis like the next week after the reunion. So we were so glad that she was able to come, because I know she wasn't in the best of, mood, feeling, energy, and that's Linda McCain. And Linda McCain, the way she's today, and she and her husband have retired and living back in Eufaula. So her husband's around in the crowd somewhere. We'll see a glimpse of him later. And there's Shirley Eldridge Johnson. And her husband was around, but I didn't know this later that they ended up leaving kind of early because he got sick. He had like food poisoning from having where they ate somewhere else earlier. And so they didn't stay as long. She said that someone came and got her and he was like passed out on the lawn. And getting back to Rodney Codron, and he and I started talking about hair. That we both had curly hair in high school and always fought it, so to speak, trying to straighten it, because that was the in look in the 60s was straight hair. And so I was complimenting him on his pretty or cute, whatever you want to call it, curly hair. And again, it's still a full head of hair. Hailing to us from San Francisco. You can see Barry Petrie in the background. And again, Cal Wilson and Kathy Couric. Cal's wife didn't come with him, but Kathy Couric came. There's Sig Bloom eating away. Sig made up a great board that was kind of in honor of the deceased. And I'm sorry I didn't get a close-up picture of it in this particular shot. but it's over up in front of the fireplace, up underneath the movie screen. But it had pictures and names of everyone that was in our class at one time. But here we go with Cal Wilson, and zooming in on Cal's photo. And coming back out to Cal Wilson, who's an attorney in Birmingham. I believe it's Birmingham and not Tuscaloosa. He still has that little twinkle in his eye. And Kathy Current works for a law firm in Eufaula, and I believe she wrote out with Cal. I mean, I'm sure they're friends from. They're both affiliations in the law field, and there's Sig Bloom and Jan Ginwright again, and Sue and her husband. I never did really meet him. I think I was kind of getting tired of doing this at this point, so there's not too much more. Cal, I believe, is going to start showing me his black and whites, and I can't believe that I think he told me that they were the original black and whites from the 60s. There we go. There we go. Cal sporting off his black and whites. I mean, it looks like the tread's pretty good. I don't know if he's had them resold or not, but he claims that these were original from his shoes from the 60s. He's proud of those black and whites. Sadlockfords, I guess, is another name we call them. So you get a little side glimpse of Fari Petrie in the blue shirt there with the red cup. I think everybody has red cups. Nope, there's James Floyd Gilbert with a yellow cup. But they're in a serious conversation, and you get a little bit, I believe, of Emmett Marshall in the background. And the girl in the jacket there is Rodney Condren's wife.